You're listening to the VA Claims Authority. I'm Gary, Air Force veteran, VA disability claims strategist, and the guy who got denied fought back and won. I'm here to make sure the VA doesn't leave you behind. Whether you're filing your first claim or fighting your fifth appeal, this is your briefing. Let's get into it. Hook final doesn't necessarily mean final. I know that sounds like good news and a trap at the same time, but here's a real quick example. A vet I worked with had a 2012 final decision denying service connection. The rating decision missed a key medical record the RO had in its files, and a CUE motion reopened the decision. We recovered retro pay dating back years. That's tens of thousands of dollars that would have been lost if he'd accepted. Final. What I'm promising in the next 10 minutes, you'll learn how to spot whether a final decision might contain a clear and unmistakable error, how that legal standard works, the exact documents to pull and what lines to highlight, and the first sentence to write in your one-page error summary. Realistic outcome. If a genuine CUE exists, you can survive the initial screening and get a review that can reopen benefits. But CUE is rare, so we'll emphasize the difference between CUE and other reopening lanes. Section 1. CUE Basics. First, what CUE is and what it isn't. A CUE is an undebatable error in the final VA decision, either a clear factual mistake, a misapplication of the law, or an omission of material evidence that was actually in the record and should have produced a different result. The key word is clear. You can't use CUE to argue a difference of opinion about how the evidence was weighed. You can't base a CUE on evidence that didn't exist when the decision was issued. If you've got new medical records, you file a supplemental claim instead. VA Form 200995 is the form for a supplemental claim. Legally, the test is whether, had the error not occurred, the outcome would have been manifestly different. That's a high bar, intentionally high, because CUE is a narrow remedy designed for true mistakes. Section 2, the paper trail. What to pull right now. This is the part you can do today at your kitchen table. Pull these documents in this order. Your final decision letter, the statement of the case or supplemental statement of the case if one exists, the rating board's rationale or regional office, RO, notes that accompany the decision, any VA examinations referenced in the decision, and every medical record the VA had access to at the time, VA clinic notes, private treatment records the VA obtained, and your service treatment records. When you look through the decision, underline the exact sentence where the RO states a fact, dates, findings, test results, or the basis of the denial. Those are your hooks. For example, if the decision says no documentation of diagnosis as of June 1st, 2010, but there is a VA clinic note from May 2010 clearly documenting that diagnosis, that's a factual mismatch you can point to. Highlight the decision language and then place a contradicting record next to it. Also pull the SSOC supplemental statement of the case if the VA issued one later. Sometimes the RO corrects one line but leaves the core mistake. Track the chain, decision letter, SOC, SSOC, and any VA examiner's report cited. That lets you show the exact path where the error entered the record. Section 3, error types that win, and how to craft a summary. There are 3 winning error categories. 1, blatant factual errors. The decision states a fact that is contradicted by evidence that was in the file. 2, misapplied law. The RO applied the wrong legal standard or ignored controlling VA or federal rules. 3, omitted material evidence. The RO failed to consider a document in the record that would have changed the outcome. Red flags you can spot in 10 minutes. Dates that don't match, medical findings misquoted, reliance on a negative exam when a positive exam was in the file, or a legal finding that cites the wrong regulation. Those are the moments you can summarize with precision. How to map evidence to the error. Use tight sentences. Don't editorialize. Use this template for your one-page error summary. 1. I request revision of the final decision date on the basis of clear and unmistakable error, because concise error statement. 2. Cite the exact sentence in the decision you challenge. Then place the contradicting record citation immediately after. Decision states, quote, decision sentence. File contains author, date, exhibit number, showing contradicting fact. 3. Explain in one sentence why that error would have changed the outcome. Had the RO considered record, the only reasonable outcome would have been service connection / benefit change because brief legal hook. Filing lanes in process. A CUE motion is submitted to the VA office that issued the final decision, usually the RO or board that signed the decision. There's no special VA form for CUE. You file a written motion with your one-page error summary, attach copies of the decision and the contradicting records, and include a cover letter that lists exhibits. Mail works, certified mail with return receipt, or submit through your accredited representative if you have one. If your issue is new evidence not in the record, stop. File a supplemental claim on VA Form 20995 instead. If you're unsure whether the problem is a true CUE or just a difference in opinion, that's the time to call an accredited representative. CUE is rare, and filing a weak CUE wastes time and can delay a better lane. Action step. What to do right now in 10 minutes. Pull your original final decision letter. Find the top right corner date and write it down. Then create a one-page document that begins with this first sentence. I request revision of the final decision dated insert date on the basis of clear and unmistakable error because one sentence factual or legal error. Under that sentence, paste the exact decision sentence you challenge in quotes, then paste the contradicting record citation. That's it for now. One page, focused, evidence first. If you want my template, go download the one-page checklist on the site. Close CTA. If you want the checklist and the one-page template, visit vaclaimsauthority.com and download CUE Playbook one-page template. If this helped you, share it with a vet who needs a second look at a final decision. If you're on the fence, get an accredited representative to review your one page before you mail it. It can save months. That's your briefing. Now go execute. If this episode helped you, share it with a veteran who needs to hear it. And if you need help with your claim, whether it's an audit, a rebuttal, or a full strategy session, head to vaclaimsauthority.com. I've got the tools and the experience to help you win. I'll see you next episode. And remember, your service earned this. Don't let paperwork take it from you. The VA won't tell you this. I will.